Bay. Tidal Bay as an appellation, we did a lot of analysis in the early days with the winemakers to try and get a difference, for example, between the wines being produced in the furthest reaches of Nova Scotia, Malagash, the South Shore, Bear River, the Annapolis, the Gaspereau. We found really tremendous similarities in the style of these wines in these areas. So when it came to doing the appellation area, we decided that it made the most sense, particularly in these early stages of the Nova Scotia industry, to do the entire province as the appellation for these types of wine. Bear in mind that the acreage is at that time probably less than 500 acres in total, so much smaller than any other appellation or most other appellations in the world by a long shot. And really important, we thought, in the development of the wine to keep that breadth. So the implementation committee was set up through the Winery Association of Nova Scotia and invited a number of the key winemakers in the province to get together in a committee that I chaired to discuss what the standards would be, to discuss the styles of wine, to taste a lot of different wines produced by these various winemakers at wineries throughout Nova Scotia over the previous years, and to understand the acidity levels, the brightness levels, the use of the grape varieties within this theme of a bright, fresh Nova Scotia terroir white wine. And we're delighted with the progress. It probably took 7 to 8 to 9 months. We did sugar analysis on some of the wines, for example, residual sugar, to understand just how sweet we felt it could be and still achieve the kind of style that we wanted, how much acidity we needed in order to create the bright, fresh characteristics. And then over that period, we set a standard for the production of the wine that insisted on things in a very tight manner, like using a basket press or a bladder press only, having 9.5 to 11% alcohol to create the style that we wanted to see on it, having a minimum of 8 grams per liter tartaric acid in the final wine so it maintained that brightness and that freshness, and having a maximum amount of sugar, 20 grams per liter, that's acid dependent, that also creates the kind of style and the character we wanted in the final wine. And we specified certain grape varieties in certain quantities, a little more than was done, for example, in Chianti or Chardonnay de Pape, where we specified 4 sort of fundamental grape varieties for Nova Scotia: Lacadie, Geisenheim, Seyval, Vidal, as the primary grape varieties that needed to make up more than 50% of the blend. And then a secondary category that included a lot of, for example, vinifera, but not necessarily heavily aromatic ones like Chardonnay, Pinot Gris, Pinot Blanc, Chasselas, grape varieties that can make up part of the wine and give it some finesse, and then some aromatic varieties that could only be there in very small percentages, less than 15%, and not detectable by a panel that we would set up, an independent tasting panel, which we called the independent tasting panel, that would assess the wine at the end and determine that it was qualified to be a Tidal Bay wine and met the standards that were proposed for it. So that aromatic grape variety, whether that was a Muscat or whether that was a Gewürztraminer or one of the aromatics, couldn't be used at such a percentage that it would actually take away from the terroir, the Nova Scotia terroir that was prominent in the wine.